I've been alone for the past few years, being 50-something, graying and alone. It was never easy, and because I wasn't social, I didn't have much friends. But thanks to the app Grindr, it helped me connect and date other men. I eventually met this guy. He was a lot younger and seemed to be in his early 30s. After a while, I recognized a spark I hadn't felt in years. At first, we chatted through text, and so our conversations quickly extended to social media platforms like Instagram and Snapchat. Then, it didn't take long before we started calling each other on the phone. He had a deep voice that made me feel comfortable talking to him.
You're, you're really into an old guy like me?
Old. You got experience. That's what I like.
You should come over one day and have some cocktail. I'm not talking about drinks either.
In time.
The calls grew bolder and spicier. I would nervously flirt and whisper things I hadn't said out loud in decades. A part of me was ashamed because of my old age, but the youthful spirit inside me acknowledged the thrill of the experience. Soon after, video calls followed. Anyone who saw them would agree that he was hot. I knew that connecting online wasn't enough. I had to see him in person, and it was something we both agreed on. We set a date to meet up for a night of wine, Netflix, and business, as we put it. So, while waiting for him, I prepped the apartment, dimmed the lights, and poured the wine. When he finally arrived, he was even more handsome in person, a dangerous kind of handsome. We drank, chatted, and laughed as we got to know each other. But the more we drank, the more tension there was between us. We decided to put on Netflix as the heat was building up. Then, it happened. It was spontaneous as hell. It went on for about 5 minutes before we both finally finished. Then, we both laid in bed relaxing after that roller coaster ride. But then that's when the awkwardness began to creep in.
So, you gonna take an Uber or what? It's late, so I just figured what? Am I some piece of meat you throw out the window? I was going to leave, but now I'm staying. Look, I wanted a one-night stand. That's it, okay? A one-night stand. After I gave you the NASA rocket ship? This is how you treat me? Get the hell out of my house or I'm calling the cops.
Finally, I couldn't hold it in anymore. Then, without another word, he lunged at me. I dropped to the floor and then we wrestled. Time wasn't on my side. If anything, I was losing it. I needed to get to the door fast. The guy was younger and stronger than me. I fought back, clawing, kicking, anything to get him off of me. We were both in our underwear, but the drastic change from passion to aggression was too much for me to handle. He then took a pillow and tried suffocating me. That had never been so close in my entire life. I was panicking, but as I kicked, I was able to get him off of me enough to get up and run for the door. But that's when he pulled me back and slammed me to the floor. I was dazed. All I remember seeing was him standing over me. And then the next thing I knew, my lights shut off when he made one large jump on my throat. The young man then sat on the couch in a room that was full of passion moments earlier, but was now full of blood. He held a machete, his adrenaline still high, and his entire body was shaking from all that rage. At first, he was merely staring at the floor, but like a madman, he cried and smiled simultaneously, confused and lost in his own thoughts. Then, in the middle of that dark room, he swung his machete, mumbling nonsensical words over and over as the guilt ate away at him. I tried calling him multiple times, but he wouldn't answer my calls, and that was so unlike him. That's when I decided to visit his place, and when I entered the house using a spare key, the stench of iron hit me. It was thick and rich in a sickening way. I then turned on my camera and recorded the entire thing for the police. It was the inside of a horror house where there were bloodstains scattered all over the walls. I tried calling out to my friend, but no one answered. I was hesitant to head upstairs, but I needed the courage to follow the trail of blood leading deeper into the house. When I entered the bedroom, I saw pieces of him all over the floor, then immediately left and called the police. They were able to identify the suspect through Grindr and eventually arrest him. But what makes this case all the more disturbing was how after reviewing the footage I took that day, I could see the killer hiding under the couch. All this time, while taking a video around the house for the cops, he was there the entire time. It gives me chills knowing I could have easily suffered the same fate as my friend. This story was inspired by a horrific incident regarding a gruesome murder scene that was discovered at a Tampa home on East Okemos Road. Police say 53-year-old Rob O'Connor was taken out by a man he met on a dating website called Grindr. Lazaro Martinez Rojas is now facing a first-degree charge in O'Connor's passing. Now the victim's best friend is speaking out about the horror of finding his friend. Robert Braytag Jr. said he can't get the images out of his head. It's a horrific thing to walk into a home and find blood in your best friend's house, Braytag said. Investigators say O'Connor and Rojas met on Grindr and then eventually met at O'Connor's home where detectives say the two hooked up. Later, O'Connor asked Rojas to leave. That led to a violent confrontation. Records showed the slaying was caught on home surveillance video. They said it captures Rojas strangling O'Connor and standing on his throat until his body goes limp. Rojas then mutilated the body with a large kitchen knife. After not hearing from O'Connor for several days, Braytag and other friends went to check on him, and that's when they made the horrific discovery. What was even more chilling was how Rojas was still hiding in the house. We didn't know what we were encountering, so I had my camera and I did record the scene. And when I looked back on it, and I saw him under the couch of my recording, my hair just stands on edge now, thinking that you can see his hair sticking out of the couch, said Braytag. Rojas remains in jail with no bond.